right, this is for people who, want to change the world and have $39 million. So, hello and welcome to the postgrad year. This is my commonplace book and commonplace binder. I'm going to set this down now. We are going to be looking at years 11 through 20 of my commonplace diploma system. If you don't know what that system is and you don't want to hear my little explanations throughout the video, just check out the What is a Commonplace Diploma video, and that should explain it. So, we are going to be talking about level 1 and level 2 schools. So level 1 is, well, just as a quick reminder to everybody, a commonplace diploma is basically an attachment that goes onto some schools, specifically high schools, and it is essentially a 5th year of high school for people who actually want to do more school or get a high-paying job or fix their life in a very particular way. And so instead of jamming everybody into college or telling everybody to stay away from college and go into the trades or go into the military or whatever other nonsense we're going to do, we're just going to say we're going to send a few people into every category, and as we build up the system, we will have more levels. Now, each individual level will be more valuable than the one that came before. So, for example, in the level 1, sorry, that's a counterintuitive order I have there. In the level 1 schools, we will give $25,000 or allocate $25,000 to each school based on each individual student from the level 1 schools. So these students are the ones that are in an education system because, they're in school and they're going into another education system, which is university or college. And then the level 2, that is vocational education. So that is, look, we have some people going to school and we also need some people to work. So maybe you could help with that. And, later on, the 3rd level is for magnet schools for the people who can't decide. And then the 4th level is for the military. And we could explain the stuff after that, but I feel like people are going to get confused if I talk about 100 different levels in a row, especially considering, towards the end of this video, in year 20, we still only have 2 levels mentioned. So it doesn't make sense to mention level 100. So let's get to work. Year 11. Just as a reminder, this video comes directly after the one before. So if you were looking at a video about $5.5 million, now you are on the one for $39 million. Well, specifically $39.05 million. So, year 1, we have 1 level 2 school, which is new. We didn't have that before. And 10 level 1 schools. So the first 20 cards, but the first 10 things, which were done in the last video, were all about level 1. And so, yeah, I feel like I've explained this too many times. In year 11, of the 66 students, where do they come from? So, year 11, we've got 10 level 1 schools and 1 level 2 school. So, there are going to be more students in the 10 level 1 schools than the level 2, because of course there are more of them, and we're building this out slowly. The calculation for each student is, well, I don't have it listed here, but in the previous video you saw that to have any student in the system, we're going to have $15,000, which scales with inflation. So over time, that $15,000 is going to increase because for every student we have in school, we need to allocate money to the school. And because, inflation is more likely than deflation, I'm going to say that this is adjusted for inflation. Okay. I mean, technically, if inflation is negative, I guess that's still the inflation rate, but the point is, if someone's in a level 1 school, it costs $15,000 for them to just be a student, just as it does in the level 2 school, and that will be adjusted for inflation. But in the level 1 schools, there's also an additional $10,000. And in the level 2 schools, there's an additional $20,000, right? Because it's 10,000 and then 20,000 and then 30,000 and then 40,000. And so there's a huge difference between 0 and 10,000, but the difference becomes a lot smaller over time. Like, for example, if you have a level which is 100,000 and then the next one is 110,000, like percentage-wise, it's not that different. And considering the 10,000 or 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 or whatever does not scale with inflation, and that's just a flat number that we just toss on, this is going to become a lot more affordable as time goes on. Well, even ignoring the fact that we're sending people into the things that they want rather than more structured education. We're 5 minutes and we haven't gotten to the second one. Okay. In year 11, we have 66 students. The cost is $25,000 times 65. That is because 65 of the 66 students are in the level 1 school. And then afterwards we have 35,000 times 1, right? Because that's $35,000 for someone in the level 2 school. Because it's because it's 20,000 plus 15,000, and so that's 35,000. And that brings us to a grand total of 1.660 million US dollars, which sounds like a lot, and it is, but remember that's also 66 students that would otherwise be going to college, like at that exact moment, right? So that's actually very cheap. Up next we have year 12, because we just did 11. So we have one level 2 school, just one, and 11 level 1 schools, because what we're doing is we're creating 10 of the lowest level and then 1 above that. And so eventually when we have 100 level 1 schools, we're also going to have 10 level 2 schools and 1 level 3 school. Now 100 is the maximum per level, and so what that means is we are going to keep spreading this, but at a certain point the cost will increase and the push will change. Like at the beginning, we're trying to jam everyone into education, and then we're going to jam everyone into vocational education, and then we're going to jam everyone into magnet schools. But we are still leaving the other stuff behind in place, and we're adding more stuff on top. So we're not really shoving everyone into exactly the same thing as we do right now. This is going to be a little bit more gradual, which should be a lot easier to deal with. So yeah, year 12, we've got 1 level 2 and then 11 level 1s, which is 78 students at a cost of 25,000 times 76, because remember, we're missing 2, and those 2 are $35,000 each. And so that brings our total to 1.970 million US dollars. Up next, year 13, as 1 level 2 and 12 level 1s. It has 91 students at a cost of $25,000 times 88 plus 35 times 3 for a total of 2.305 million US dollars. Up next is year 14, which is 1 level 2, 13 level 1s. That is 105 students. So we finally made it over 100, which is fantastic. That is a cost of $25,000 for 101 students, plus $35,000 times 4, which brings the total for year 14 to 2.665 million US dollars. Kind of a complicated number there. Up next is year 15, which will be fantastic because it'll feel like some people have actually gone through the entire school system knowing that this thing exists. So that'll be 1 level 2 school, 14 level 1 schools. Oh, and just remember, this is only for people in their 5th year of high school until we have 11 levels of a specific type. And then we can add additional students, but, add them towards the bottom rather than trying to push them into a different system. Okay, year 15 has 1 level 2 school, 14 level 1 schools, and that is 120 students spread across, that's supposed to be a 25,000 times 115 plus 35,000 times 3, which is a total of 3.050 million US dollars. Up next we have year 16, which is 1 level 2 school and then 15 level 1 schools for a total of 136 students at a cost of $25,000 times 130 plus 35,000 times 6. And so the total for year 16 is 3.460 million US dollars. Up next is year 17. We have 1 level 2 school, 16 level 1s and that is 153 students. So that's kind of cool. We're finally over 150. The cost is $25,000 per student for 146 students, and then we also have $35,000 for 7 students. That is a total of 3.895 million US dollars. Up next is year 18, which is 1 level 2 school, 17 level 1s, and that is 171 students at a cost of $25,000 for 163 of them, and then also 35,000 times 8 for a total of 4.355 million US dollars. Up next is year 19, 1 level 2 school plus 18 level 1s. That is 190 students at a cost of $25,000 times 181 plus 35,000 times 9 for a total of 4.840 million US dollars. It's kind of a lot. And now for our final year, year 20, we have 1 level 2 school and 19 level 1s. It looks like we're finally over 200. So we've got 210 students at a cost of $25,000 times 200. So that's kind of cool. That's 200 students within the first level times, well, you know, that number plus $35,000 times 10 for a total of 5.35 million US dollars. Yeah, so that's 5.350 million US dollars within year 20. If we're talking about this presentation and the presentation before, that is a total for the first 20 years of the Commonplace Diploma, 39.050 million US dollars. So, kind of a lot of money. I feel like I've said way too many numbers throughout this video. Thank you for listening to all of those numbers. If you can see the numbers, that is fantastic. I assume there are going to be only a few note cards that people are actually interested in, like the one at the very beginning, maybe some explanations, and this final card that says, look, after 20 years of this Commonplace Diploma system being operational, the total cost will be a little bit more than $39 million. So, if you have that much money to commit to this, I would really appreciate if you could talk to some other rich people about maybe trying to push this policy, or try it in a place where it's not going to hurt anybody because you already control the school or something like that. But anyways, enough of trying to influence reality. Up next is life after the boomers. So if you don't have that much money and you're just planning on trying to prepare for the world after the boomers are gone, because eventually they will age out of the system, then check out that next video. But thank you for watching, and until next time, hope you're having a great day. Okay, bye.